Hi, it's me, Rachel Lynn, and I really hate the term being Dave-ish. So first of all, let me explain what this is. The term Dave-ish, or just the term ish, is a term that hardcore Dave followers call other people that aren't quite as hardcore as them. So first of all, I really hope that I come off cool and collected on this topic because this is something that really bugs me. I mostly see this as a comment in different Dave Ramsey Facebook groups that I'm in, although I have seen it on videos that people have done that are talking about Dave Ramsey or even just like getting out of debt and those kinds of things. It's just, I see it a lot, especially because I do read the posts in those Facebook groups a lot because, you know, these people want help and I want to try to help them if they can, and they might even have some of the same questions that I have, and so I read those posts because I might have the same question, and sometimes I don't even realize I have the same question. And so I really do love reading and interacting in those Facebook groups, but when people start calling other people ish, it really bugs me. Okay, so yes, some things truly are ish. Like if you're talking about getting a loan or you're trying to use credit to pay off credit or things like that, that I would definitely describe as ish. I'm going to come back to this later though, so hang on just a moment. However, there's a difference when people that are using a budget and trying to stay on budget and trying to get out of debt, they do things like keep cable in their house, or they have an eating out budget of any amount. Maybe their grocery budget is higher than what the ish follower deems reasonable, especially when they don't know the family dynamics. So, you know, how do you know how much groceries they really need to buy? Maybe the person has some extra pocket money to use for spending. I just keep hearing, or not necessarily hearing, but reading in comments, stop being so ish, while I say stop being so mean. Sometimes somebody is brand new to the plan. Maybe they have just barely heard of Dave Ramsey and they're just trying to figure things out. And when you just like jump on them and call them ish, that makes them feel bad. Like they don't know any better. And making them feel bad is not going to help them in trying to keep getting out of debt. I often see people getting yelled at just for simply asking questions. Sometimes a person knows that cutting back in certain areas will help them get out of debt faster, but they just aren't ready yet. So yeah, maybe that person could be maybe a little bit ish, but really the term ish just kind of puts me off, and I'm sure that it puts other people off too. I think it's more important to celebrate the changes that a person has made. Let them bask in the success of making better choices and better changes, and then maybe politely suggest if they want to do more, this is what you could do, rather than just calling them ish and they're not doing enough. That person might not be ready to make further changes quite yet, but I found that the more that you propel yourself out of debt, the more you want to get out of debt and the more you are willing to sacrifice as time goes on. Of course, that's not necessarily true for everyone, but I have found that to be true for at least myself and with a huge majority of people that have actually made it out of debt. That the closer that they get to being out of debt, the more they want to sacrifice for that. But I honestly think that those people that are trying, as long as they keep trying, they're going to get there. And I think that they'll get there more quickly with encouragement rather than being yelled at and basically being called a name. I really feel like ish callers are like scolding people for not doing what they consider enough. And now some people might need some scolding in order to kind of like shape up their act a little bit. But the scolding shouldn't come from strangers on the internet. It should come from somebody that they trust and that loves them and knows that they want the best for them. Random people in a Facebook group are not those people. It's way too easy to block somebody, ignore someone that you don't know, hide their comments, delete the comments. It's just too easy when you don't like what somebody has said to you to just kind of ignore it and move on, and actually probably you might want to do the opposite of what they're telling you because you're getting yelled at by somebody you don't even know. A lot of these people even leave the Facebook group because they're getting yelled at, and so they're They could be brand new to Dave Ramsey. They sign in, they ask a question, they get yelled at, and they leave the group and they don't even try. Other people that maybe they know better, but they're just trying to figure things out and they're doing their best, and there's a huge mentality shift in going from like, well, debt is okay and it's a part of life, to like, no, it's definitely not okay and it should never have been a part of life. And those that have not made that mental shift yet, it's very, very difficult, and so they might still be thinking, well, maybe I can use some debt to get out of debt and have a lower interest rate, and they're just thinking along certain things, just trying to better their situation the best that they can without the information. And so they ask these questions and people yell at them, and then the next thing you know, they're not in the group. They're going and they're making poor financial decisions because they're not in that Facebook group with people that are supporting them like they should be to do better. The people should be there to help them, not scold them. So for people that actually do need some scolding in order to get through to them, the scolding should come from friends or family that have their best interest at heart, that love them. Or it could also come from Dave himself. Essentially, Dave kind of is a stranger, but he has the trust factor because of how many people he has helped. And so by calling in to Dave and having him scold you if you need it, that's a completely different situation. So when it comes to somebody on the internet shouting ish at somebody, that person has no idea why they are being what they call ish. Maybe they're keeping cable because they have a reluctant spouse, and that's the only way to keep their spouse on board. Many times, cable comes free with your internet, so why not enjoy the benefits of having a little extra for free? Maybe their grocery budget is high because they have 4, 5, 6 kids. Maybe they have a bunch of teenage boys in the house that eat everything. I know I'm adding this in a little bit later, but maybe they have special dietary restrictions and they have to afford much higher priced food because otherwise it'll put them in the hospital, or at the very least make them very sick. Maybe they have an eating out budget because they know that with their busy life and busy schedule, sometimes you just don't have time to make dinner, and sometimes you just don't have time for meal planning either, or meal prep. And then of course I think that just having the excuse of sometimes you just need to get out is okay, because if you don't, you just might break. And I think that it's much more important for you to stay on budget, stay on track, keep getting out of debt, and have a little bit of pad in your budget for things like eating out sometimes, spending money sometimes for things that you just want. Now, I'm not saying spend all of your money. I'm just saying making room in your budget for it is okay. And you have to keep in mind that the definition of little is different for everybody. It depends on what your income is. It depends on what your debt is. It depends on what your bills are. It depends on so many different things. And most of the time, ish callers don't have even a fraction of this information. So having a little bit of extra money in your budget to just be like a stress relief, to be able to spend just a little bit, to be able to have a little bit of fun, and to be able to just relax a little bit is okay. Whatever keeps you on the plan, whatever keeps you getting out of debt, and whatever keeps you from adding more debt to your total, that's a good thing, and you should never be bashed for it not being enough. Okay, I think I kept myself under control, but I am feeling just a little bit like, oh, how can you just like be mean to people that are just trying their best or just don't know any better? I don't know. Anyway, just be kind, be encouraging, help others. Calling them names, bashing them, doesn't help. So give me a like for some encouragement. Leave me a comment down below. I'd like to know what your opinions are on people calling each other ish when it's not good enough for what they think isn't good enough. If you like this video, go ahead and subscribe. I make videos about getting out of my student loan debt and losing some weight along the way. That's all I have for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Hi, it's it's me, Rachel Lynn, and I really hate when the battery goes out. Okay, alright, change the battery.